just calculating that because I saw it.
Puck using her size to get inside. Hillman comes and help. Here's Lexie Hull, who does what Lexie Hull has been doing here out of the Olympic break. A team that is certainly better than their record as Mitchell comes up with the steal. Howard is back. It's one-off-one. Mitchell's going to pull a free. How's that for confidence?
4 players, 1 unforgettable night. What happens when Caitlin Clark, a generational superstar, inspires Lexie Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aliyah Boston to reach new heights? The Indiana Fever didn't just play a game. They gave us a glimpse into basketball's future, a future that had everyone talking. This is the story of how the Fever Fab Four came to life, and the historic game that changed everything.
But the resilience, how much has that built up even in the last month about this team?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest ways we've improved over the course of the year, especially since probably a little bit before the Olympic break, and then definitely here in the second half. So I'm proud of our group.
September 8th, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The arena buzzes with electricity as 17,000 fans pour in, their excitement palpable. The Fever are coming off a grueling loss to the Minnesota Lynx, a setback after an incredible post-Olympic break run. But tonight feels different. It's not just another matchup. This is the moment when 4 unique talents will come together and ignite something truly special.
Behind the back, trying to create off the Boston screen. Back to Boston. Boston turns the corner, gets to the rim, and ties the game.
Caitlin Clark, the once-in-a-generation phenom with an uncanny ability to elevate her team. Lexie Hull, a defensive ace rediscovering her three-point rhythm. Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran guard chasing greatness after years of team struggle. Aliyah Boston, a rising force in the paint. 4 players on distinct journeys, converging in one electrifying, unforgettable game. What made this night extraordinary? How did these 4 stars transform into an unstoppable force? This is the story of teamwork, resilience, and a vision of basketball's future. Are you ready? Let's relive the unforgettable night that forged the Fever Fab Four.
We were just like sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
Rewind to early 2024. The Indiana Fever were in disarray. 1 win, 8 losses, and a season spiraling toward irrelevance. Fast forward to September, and they were the talk of the basketball world. What happened behind the scenes to turn this team from bottom dwellers into playoff contenders? The Fever's journey from a struggling squad to the hottest ticket in the WNBA is a story of grit, growth, and the magic of chemistry. At the start of the season, the Fever looked like a team loaded with potential but lacking direction. Game after game, they stumbled, searching for an identity that seemed just out of reach. The turning point wouldn't come overnight, but it began with the individual journeys of 4 remarkable players, the Fab Four.
Lexie Hull has to fire, and why not? Come on!
Lexie Hull entered the WNBA with sky-high expectations after a stellar college career at Stanford. But her early struggles were glaring. Her shots weren't falling, and her confidence wavered. But Lexie wasn't one to back down. She hit the gym, fine-tuned her mechanics, and put in countless hours until it all clicked.
And at the beginning of the season, my playing time definitely looked different than it did at the end. So trusting that, I was staying ready, putting in the work so that when I did get the minutes out on the court, that I could take full advantage of them. So I was just really proud of myself for trusting the process and staying the course.
That breakthrough came on August 18th against the Seattle Storm. Hull was unstoppable, lighting up the scoreboard with one clutch shot after another. It wasn't just a great game, it was a statement. Lexie Hull had arrived, and her icy determination would become a cornerstone of the Fever's resurgence.
I mean, Aliyah is probably one of the hardest working players that I've ever been around. She is, everything about her. Wants to be better, wants to be great, and she does not take any of that for granted. I mean, she works at her craft, and when you do that, a lot of times basketball will repay you, and this is one of the ways.
Aliyah Boston, the first overall pick in the 2023 draft, carried immense expectations on her shoulders. Joining a team that had won just 5 games the previous season, Boston faced pressure from the moment she stepped onto the court. Every missed opportunity felt magnified, every rebound scrutinized. But beneath the weight of those expectations, Boston's talent shone through.
Caitlin knows where Aliyah Boston's going to be. Aliyah Boston knows where Caitlin's going to be. So
as the season unfolded, The flashes of brilliance turned into consistent dominance. Her smooth post moves and commanding defensive presence began to turn heads. By September, Boston wasn't just holding her own. She was owning the paint and proving why she was the foundation for the Fever's future. For 7 years, Kelsey Mitchell had been the heartbeat of the Fever, enduring season after season of rebuilding. Many players would have grown weary, but not Mitchell. Her resolve only strengthened. She played with a fire and determination that inspired her teammates, even when the odds seemed stacked against them.
Kelsey Mitchell is, she's special, she's unique, she's one of the fastest players on the court all the time. You get her in any type of actions where it's her speed that's gonna get her open, you can scheme for it, she's gonna be able to get a touch.
Mitchell's patience and resilience would finally pay off in ways she couldn't have imagined, especially after the arrival of one player who would change everything. Enter Caitlin Clark, a once-in-a-generation talent with a court presence that could light up an arena. From the moment she donned a Fever jersey, something shifted. It wasn't just her breathtaking passes or her deep three-pointers that made the difference. It was the spark she ignited in everyone around her. Clark's humble swagger and infectious energy breathed new life into the Fever.
Caitlin and Aliyah have almost a poetic pick-and-roll action going all the time. Caitlin can already find her teammates, but just the fluidity between her and Aliyah, it's like they're on a different wavelength now.
She wasn't just playing her own game. She was elevating her teammates to new heights. With Clark running the offense, players like Mitchell and Hull found themselves in perfect scoring positions, while Boston thrived on pick-and-roll plays that left defenders helpless. Clark wasn't just a player. She was the glue holding everything together.
You know, she sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think, like, for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, like, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive. So yeah, I think that shows the player that she is and the leader she is as a point guard.
As the season wore on, it became clear that something special was brewing in Indiana. Hull's confidence grew with every shot she drained from beyond the arc. Boston began to dominate with a mix of physicality and finesse. Mitchell rediscovered her love for the game, thriving in her role alongside Clark. And Clark herself? She was the flame that kept the fire burning. But it wasn't just about the individual pieces. The Fever began to look less like a roster of talent and more like a cohesive unit. The struggles of early 2024 weren't forgotten. They became fuel for the transformation that was about to change everything. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
Look at this. These are the top 3 scorers in the WNBA since the women brought home gold in the Olympics a few weeks ago. 2 of the members are of the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell.
The struggles of early 2024 had forged a team hungry for change, but no one could have predicted the seismic shift about to sweep through the WNBA. What if I told you that a mid-season break, a pause often seen as routine, would ignite one of the most remarkable turnarounds in basketball history? The Fever had shown flashes of brilliance throughout the season, but consistency remained just out of reach. They had the talent, but the spark needed to unite it hadn't yet ignited. Little did anyone know that this break in the action would become the launchpad for an extraordinary transformation. During the mid-season Olympic pause, something magical happened. The Fever didn't just take time off, they came together. Away from the relentless grind of game day, the players bonded in ways that went beyond basketball. They shared meals, dreams, and a collective hunger to rewrite their story. The seeds of trust and chemistry that had been planted early in the season began to blossom.
I think one thing that our coaches did during that break, I mean, we had a full month of practice pretty much during the Olympic break, and they would put up every day after practice our shooting percentages from 2s and 3s during drills, during scrimmages, during everything. And I think that helped me because, some people will probably like, it's so annoying, whatever, but I personally liked it.
When the league resumed, the Fever were unrecognizable. They stepped onto the court with a renewed sense of purpose and unity. Lexie Hull, who had struggled with inconsistency earlier in the year, emerged as one of the league's deadliest three-point shooters. Her transformation was breathtaking. Her accuracy from beyond the arc soared to an astounding 70%, leaving defenders scrambling and fans in awe. By the season's end, Hull had claimed the title of the WNBA's most accurate three-point shooter.
Lexie Hull has unlocked that for Indiana. On cue!
But Hull wasn't the only player turning heads. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell had evolved into one of the league's most dynamic backcourt duos, combining for an almost unbelievable 50 points per game after the break.
Mitchell shot out of a cannon and through.
Clark's court vision was the stuff of highlight reels, consistently finding Mitchell for shots that seemed impossible just months before. Meanwhile, Mitchell's relentless scoring ability gave Clark the freedom to orchestrate plays with unmatched precision. Their synergy didn't just make headlines, it made opposing defenses look helpless. Together, they created a backcourt nightmare that coaches around the league struggled to counter.
She knows how to lay it out on a dime. Her court vision is impeccable, and now her teammates are ready to catch the ball. They trust she's going to get it where it needs to be. But y'all, the favorite part of my game from Caitlin Clark is this behind the back pass. Come on now.
Come on.
I love it. I love it. And that wasn't just one time. She does that on a frequent and drops it right there. Perfect to Aliyah Boston.
So let me just sprinkle in, because you mentioned AB. Two of those highlights, I believe, were a Clark-Boston connection. Those two have been the second best scoring duo in the league behind Asia Wilson and Jackie Young.
The magic wasn't confined to the backcourt. Clark's playmaking transcended her partnership with Mitchell. She elevated the entire team, turning untapped potential into realized talent. Aliyah Boston, in particular, thrived in the new system. With Clark feeding her pinpoint passes, Boston became a dominant force in the paint. The pick and roll between the two was poetry in motion, leaving defenders spinning and fans on their feet. This wasn't just a team coming together. It was a masterpiece in the making. Each game saw the Fever growing more confident, more cohesive. They weren't just playing basketball, they were rewriting the rules of what team basketball could look like. The struggles of early 2024 were no longer setbacks. They were the foundation for something extraordinary. The transformation extended beyond the court. In Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the energy was electric. Fans who had endured years of heartbreak suddenly found themselves part of something historic. Each game brought sellout crowds, their cheers lifting the players and creating an atmosphere that had been missing for years. By the time the Fever prepared to face the Atlanta Dream, the excitement was undeniable. The pieces were in place, the momentum was unstoppable, and the stage was set for a night that would etch itself into WNBA lore. Fans and players alike could feel it. History was about to be made.
And you mentioned the crowd, this atmosphere. I can see the fans, I can feel the energy, but put us into your shoes. What does it feel like out there?
Hearing them cheer every possession, hearing them talk to you when you're shooting the ball like you got this, like it is exactly what we need every single night. And so I'm just thankful for them.
September 8th, 2024. A date forever etched into the memories of basketball fans. As the ball tipped off between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream, few could have predicted they were about to witness a game that would alter the landscape of women's basketball for years to come. The atmosphere inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse was electric. 17,000 fans packed the arena, their anticipation buzzing like static in the air. The Fever, surging off their post-Olympic break momentum, were ready to make a statement against a formidable Atlanta Dream team. This wasn't just another matchup, this was destiny in the making. From the opening whistle, Caitlin Clark took control of the game with an authority that was undeniable. Her court vision was mesmerizing, threading passes through the narrowest lanes and finding teammates in spaces they hadn't even realized they'd occupied. As the game progressed, her impact only grew. Clark wasn't just playing basketball, she was conducting a symphony of brilliance.
Look, she came into the WNBA with great expectations. We witnessed her become the most impactful player that we've seen in a generation. And it's a combination of both on and off the court. Off the court, attendance, viewership. On the court, her prolific scoring and also assists. Guess what? At the end of her rookie campaign, we can say the same damn thing, y'all, about what she has accomplished. It's amazing.
By the time the final buzzer sounded, Clark had tallied 26 points and 12 assists. But the stats didn't tell the full story. It was the way she made it look effortless, breaking down defenses, weaving through opponents, and draining deep threes as if the basket were twice its size. This game cemented her place in WNBA history, as she became the fastest player ever to reach 300 assists and the first to record over 100 three-pointers, 300 assists, and 700 points in a single season. But Clark wasn't the only star shining that night. Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran who had endured years of rebuilding, was unstoppable. She delivered yet another 20-plus point performance. her 16th of the season, showcasing the consistency and scoring brilliance that had made her a fan favorite. Mitchell's fiery determination paired seamlessly with Clark's unselfish playmaking, creating a backcourt duo that left the dream reeling.
Fun to watch. Plays the game low to high, always ready to fire.
Meanwhile, Lexie Hull was rewriting the narrative of her season. Once a player whose struggles had raised questions, Hull was now a lethal sharpshooter, draining 3 after 3 with surgical precision. Every swish of the net sent the crowd into a frenzy, and by the end of the night, Hull had solidified her place as the league's most accurate three-point shooter, officially claiming the season record.
Mitchell inside, good find, Fag Benley, cross-court, pass hole is open, and hits a three!
And then there was Aliyah Boston. The young center had shown flashes of greatness throughout the year, but on this night, she was a revelation. With 30 points and 13 rebounds, Boston dominated the paint on both ends of the floor. Her performance wasn't just about numbers, it was about presence. Every rebound, every shot, every defensive stand made it clear. Boston had arrived, and the league had better take notice.
2 words. Aliyah Boston, baby. Then I got 3 words. Bow, bow, bow!
What made this game historic wasn't just the individual performances, it was the chemistry. Clark and Mitchell operated like 2 halves of the same mind, their passes and movement in perfect harmony. Hull's sharp shooting stretched Atlanta's defense to the breaking point, while Boston's commanding presence inside made double-teaming anyone a losing strategy. Together, these 4 players created a spectacle that felt less like a basketball game and more like an unveiling. When the final seconds ticked away, the scoreboard read, Fever 104, Dream 100. But the numbers were just the surface. This wasn't merely a win, it was a declaration. The Fever Fab 4 had arrived. This game wasn't just a highlight in an impressive season. It was the birth of something extraordinary. The Fever's transformation from perennial underdogs to serious contenders is nothing short of remarkable. Led by Clark's playmaking, Mitchell's scoring, Hull's sharpshooting, and Boston's dominance in the paint, this team has captured the hearts of fans and reignited the energy at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Your win celebration has been really catching on with your teammates, your coaches, and the fans. Could we get a little bow, bow, bow to walk it off?
Bow, bow, bow!
But this is only the beginning. As the season winds down, the Fever Fab 4 are poised to make waves in the years to come. Their unique blend of talent, chemistry, and resilience makes them a force that no team can ignore. While the road ahead holds challenges, ensuring player safety, maintaining momentum, and improving officiating, the foundation has been set. The Fever aren't just chasing success, they're building a dynasty. And it all began with this historic night against the Atlanta Dream. The future of basketball is here, and it's brighter than ever. The Fever Fab 4 are here, and the best part? They're just getting started. Do you agree? Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.